All right, guys, what we have here today is a Mesa Boogie Fillmore 25. We picked it up off of Reverb, and oddly enough, the reverb is not working on either channel on this. We did contact the seller. It is a brand new unit, and he said that he would pay for the repairs. We went down and had a music shop who's an authorized service person look at it. They said the part wasn't available, and we did talk with them. They said the part was about $60, and then there would be some labor to install it if it came in and if we ordered it. Since I do electronics for a living, I just thought I'd just take a quick look at it. But I wanted to kind of document this a little bit. There doesn't seem to be any Fillmore 25 repair videos out there. So to demonstrate what's actually wrong, we've went ahead and we've hooked it up to a speaker, and we have a what do you have over there?
It's a PRS McCarty 594.
So let's get just a quick peek at that. There you go. Let's see the head up there too. You can bring that down here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let him play a couple licks and then show you the reverb and stuff, so we can show you guys what the problem is. Okay.
So I'm adjusting the reverb knobs. They're on the back, and what I initially had them on was middle, about noon, and you see the problem. There is no reverb at all. Anyway, that's the clean channel. Let's go over to the dirty channel, and you'll see same thing, no reverb at all. So messing with the knobs again. Nope, no reverb at all.
Okay, so what we did do is we actually went over to we went over to Mesa Boogie's website, and they have a procedure you can do to see if it's your tank circuit or possibly something else. All right, here's the web page right up here. What we did is we actually just typed this in right here, and it was the first link that came up. Let me go back, and it was right here. Mesa Boogie Zendesk.com, and so we clicked on that, and we ended up right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do this right here. It look like they have 3 different styles. I believe this is the one that we have in the box. Not 100% sure, but ours is black, so that's probably it. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to this procedure.
So before you continue with any of this, you want to make sure your amplifier is off and that the tubes are cooled. So if you haven't already done this, turn your standby switch off first, wait a few seconds, then turn off your master, wait for the tubes to cool, and then you can continue and get started.
All right, after you get it turned around, go ahead and unplug it right here, and then you're going to have to disconnect the reverb, but on the amplifier. That's the first step, is to disconnect it on the amplifier. But the plugs are buried so far in there that realistically, to be safe, you should probably just unscrew the 4 screws on top. Right here, there's 2 here, and then there's 2 more right there. I would unscrew those screws there and go ahead and slide this, disconnect them down here and slide the whole amp out. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of here.
This is a number 2 screwdriver, by the way.
Can you hand me that other one over there? And I'll get started on the other
This is
side.
not a number 2 screwdriver.
Yeah. Number 2 screw, Phillips.
And we're probably going to have to prop this thing up at some point.
And number 2 is right there. It'll say P2 or number 2. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's get this out of here. Oh, one thing, you might want to, I forgot, disconnect your reverb cable down here. You could probably reach into this one, move your hand here. There we go. So grab this and just kind of wiggle it a little bit, pull it out. There we go. Now you might have to support the amp, and that's one of the reasons it's important to let the tubes cool, because it's gonna be a little toasty in there. So we're gonna get all these screws out of here. There we go.
It's already starting to get heavy.
Take this and pull this out.
One of us needs to support this while the other one holds the amp up.
Long screws.
They really do not want this thing going anywhere, and I don't blame them.
I'm just gonna leave that one there. There you go, just pull it. Alright, then you should be able to just slide the amp back. There we go. Like that. And then move the case forward. There we go. And then you can set this down here. Alright, now that we have the amp or the head out, we can stand this up. And we're going to disconnect the return and the other line. Again, those pliers come in real handy. Just don't squeeze it too tight. Just wiggle it a little bit while you're pulling.
And be careful with the other tubes there.
There you go. There we go. So we're good there. Yeah, try not to smack your tubes. It might not be good for the filaments. Alright, so now we're going to set this back down over here. And we're going to bring the box back. Let's get rid of this power cord here. And the reason you need the box back is so you can clear out your spider webs in there. No. We'll take care of those. The reason is you need to reconnect your reverb right here. There you go. Reconnect both sides. There you are. And this is the procedure as far as disconnecting this is what's on the website. What's not on the website is actually taking the head out, because you just can't really get your hand in there very effectively to get that out. You saw how hard it was to get this one off here. I needed a pair of needle nose. Can you imagine trying to do that with your hand and not pulling this wire out of the socket? I think it's a lot safer. Just go ahead and pull the head out. All right, now the procedure they're having you do now is to get a multimeter, and there's a couple of different styles. We're just going to use this little cheapy Acron CP 7672. Let me see if I can get it up here for you. I think it's like a $15 or $20 meter. I think you get them at Harbor Freight or something like that, or you can order one online. Or if you have, if you're more of an experienced electronics technician, you may have something similar to this. This is a WaveTech. They no longer make this particular model, but it's one of my favorites, and I've had it for well over 22 years, and it's been great. It's a WaveTech 27XT, and I like it because it's got diode test, and it's got max high-low hold. It's even got a little 20 megahertz counter in it. It does capacitors, inductors, all kinds of stuff. But you don't need it for this test. But if you're a tech, you know, hey, there's a plug for that one that's no longer even produced. But it's a good meter. I've liked it. So what we're going to do now is in the test procedure. The next step is to grab the shielded cable, which is this one here, and they want you to ohm between the tip and the shield itself. So let's go ahead and do that. And depending on your model, it can be 200 ohms, or what was the other one?
228. Well, so 220.
Or 28 ohms. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to ohm this out. And we have, looks like 154 ohms. I'd call that good, personally. Alright, then they want you to leave this one on the shield. Right here, don't touch the center in the shield, just the shield. And then they want you to touch just the center tip right here. And they say you should have 1 ohm. And we do not have 1 ohm. So we're going to check our meter again. We're going to test this, make sure we have a short. We do. Ironically, in the procedure, it says that if you test the leads, you should have an open with 0.000. Well, when you test touch leads together, you get 0.00. That's not an open, that's a dead short. So I think they got that wrong in the procedure, but yeah, it's kind of crazy the way they said that. All right, so they want you to test this out. They say you're supposed to have 1 ohm, and that's on the shield. Yeah, I've tested both just in case. All right, and that's supposed to be 1 ohm, and it's not. So we have an open someplace in here. So that's probably our next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this out. And after we get it out, then we're going to open it up and see if we have a broken wire, which is probably what we have. So let's go ahead and let's get this reverb box out. And we're going to need our little stubby screwdriver for that. And it's going to take all 4 of these screws off the corner. And I don't think you need to sit here and watch me spin 4 screws. So I'm going to pause it for that part. Alright, once you get all 4 screws up, just grab this unit, lift it up like this, and bring it over the top. And we'll see, move the case back out of the way here. There we go. Alright. And remember the orientation of all these little rubber things here, because we're probably going to end up taking those off. So I'll probably do this, and we're going to put the screws inside the little rubbers there and set them off to the side. Oh, if the standoff piece comes off with it, just don't forget to put it back on. You can see those 2 stayed on, and the far 2, like this one, came off. So make sure it goes back on the bottom before you put it back together. All right, now we got this. We're going to go ahead and pull these cables off of here. Let's see if I can grab this with my hand. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to, we're actually going to open this sucker up and see where the break is. And it's probably right over here. All right. What we figured out is they just glued it together with some double-sided tape. So we're just going to take a screwdriver in here, and we're just going to gently pry up on this. Don't pry too much because you don't want to bend it too much. And if you do, well then, you know, just go ahead and straighten it back out. That sound is the tape releasing, by the way. So we're going to go all the way around until we get inside. Ironically, they show these on the inside on that one web page there. Okay, here we are. We're on the inside. Let's get this one off of here. There we go. So if you want to put it back together, if you didn't save the tape, or if it doubles over, I just cut that off and then put it back in. Maybe cut some of this and put it over here or something like that. Okay, here we go. So let's have a peek inside. You are seeing it for the first time just like we are. So let's see what we got here. And I'm going to look at these circuit boards real close. Let me zoom in. Let's see if we have a broken wire someplace. Alright, well let me dig around in here and see if I find something to show you guys. Alright guys, what we have is we have this thingy right here is really burred up. So before we put it back together, I want to take care of these burrs. I went ahead and already did this side right here. I think you can kind of see this one. It's a lot smoother. So what I did is I just used an electric drill with one of these on here. Sorry about the light there. We used one of these. It's just a countersink, and all you do is just set it up over here. And you want to do this on really slow, by the way. And you just kind of go around in a little circle like that, and then check it. And if it's not all the way cleaned up, let me zoom in for you. There we go. Just kind of go in a circle like that, and it should clean up. And all you got to do is just wipe everything off of there. Try not to get any in here. That might not be a good idea. So there we go. So we got this pretty much cleaned up here. Alright, what I've decided to do is, what I've found out is, realistically, pulling this cable off here to test your reverb. When you pull this cable off, you're basically testing the cable and you're testing the reverb head itself. If you just want to check the head and not worry about the cables, you don't really have to pull the whole amplifier head out. You can just disconnect it here. So, and I'm gonna describe how to do it without pulling out the cables. Let me first start by saying what they're having you do. So let me reconnect the cables as if we're going to test it. Okay, so when you saw us test it before, we had the whole reverb assembly disconnected from the amplifier. And what they're having you do is they're having you actually test this coil that's on the inside right here. They're having you test this coil to make sure it's about 200 ohms. Unfortunately, this does not read 200 ohms. It actually reads about 50 ohms, and I actually think that's probably correct. And the reason is because their test for the reverb head wasn't specific to the Fillmore. It was generic. They also said it could be 28 ohms too on some of the others. The other side over here, they had you test this one, and this one should read 1 ohm. And when we were running the tests, we weren't getting anywhere near that. So I'm going to run this test again and show you the numbers we were getting again. And then I'm going to do some explanation of what I found and what I think the real problem is. And I believe the problem is actually the head. And I'm going to show you why and how we plan to fix it. All right, the first test they wanted us to do was to go ahead and test that coil on the right by testing this. And they wanted it to be 200 ohms. And it's not. It's nowhere near 200 ohms. It's 53.7 ohms. And actually it's 53.3, because if you short these together, we get about 0.4 ohms. So you subtract that from here, and you'll get 53.3 if you subtract that 0.4 there. Make sure I got a good measure on it. Well, now it's being a booger. But anyways, it's approximately 54 ohms. Next test they want you to do is check from ground to the center here, and they want this to be 1 ohm. Well, we're nowhere near 1 ohm. So I'm going to show you what the actual problem is on the inside, and it's not a broken wire, but it is a broken circuit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's get this disconnected here and turned around. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to show you the way to do it without actually testing the cable, just doing it the other way, without disconnecting these from the amplifier head. All you really need to do is disconnect these two right here if you just want to test the head, not the wires. So the first thing you would do is you would disconnect that, and then you test this here, and you end up with basically the same ohmage, about 53 to 54 ohms for this Fillmore 25. Then they want you to stick on the shield, remember, and then the center conductor on this, and they want 1 ohm. Well, we're not getting 1 ohm, anywhere near 1 ohm here. And I'm in here on the contact on the inside. So we do have an open, but it's not a broken wire. It's actually bad solder joints and stuff. So I'm going to explain that. Let's turn it around, and I'll show you how, if this is your problem, it'll probably fix it for you. And we're going to find out after we fix it and put it back in. So hold on, let's get this turned around. All right, here we go. So we're going to turn this around, and I'm going to start explaining what's going on here. All right, this, now that we've rotated 180, is the 1 ohm side. They want you to go from here to the shield, and the shield goes from here. It goes through the solder joint. It also goes to the shield on this thing, and it comes through here. It goes to these pop rivets, and these pop rivets are pop riveted straight to the frame right here. So when I ohm from the frame, which is the same position as this one over here, let me go ahead and zoom in. Here we go. So if on this coil, it goes from the red, goes inside this little coil here. Let me zoom out back a little bit. It goes through this coil, and then it goes to the ground for the shield, which is this thing. There's an actual current path through here, or a printed circuit board run, and it comes over through the solder ball, gets pop riveted here, and then that pop rivet hooks directly to the frame. So theoretically, we should have a ground. We should have continuity from here to here, and on the meter we actually do. Let me zoom back out. Alright, so I've zoomed out here. So we're going to go from the shield here to the rivet, which means we got good continuity, or sort of. Hold on, let me get better. Alright, so we got continuity there. So that means that the shield down here should have continuity. We got continuity there. And we should have continuity because this is riveted straight to the frame. We should have continuity here. And we do. So we got continuity there. And if you ohm the coil itself, this is the 200 ohms that they want, that we don't. We have about 51, 52. We've been all the way up to 54, but we have continuity going from here through the coil and back out. And we have continuity from here to the frame, or which is the shield. So if we go on the outside and touch the shield, we should also get continuity to the frame. That's the outer portion of the ring. I'm going to show that to you here. That's this ring right here. Let me back up a little bit here. There we go. I want you to be able to see the meter. There we go. So if we're going from the shield right here to the frame, we should get continuity, and we do. If we come over to this side, we should also get continuity, and we do. So let's go over to the other circuit board. And you remember when they had us go from the white wire right here, the center of this white wire, to the shield over here, we're supposed to get 1 ohm, right? And that shield is the same shield that's on the metal frame that's connected to this, to the rivets through the board. So we should have continuity on this shield right here to here. So we connect this to here, because it's the same board. It's exactly the same board, part number 2. The only difference is they put the solder ball on this side instead of this side. So we should be able to go from here to the rivet and get continuity. Let me back up a little bit. There we go. So you can see the meter. So we should be getting continuity here, and we do. Then we should be getting continuity to the frame. And, whoa, look at that. We got 27 ohms. And depending on how you wiggle it, you may not get anything. You may get an open. So there's our problem right there, is these rivets are not making good contact to the frame. Now, to prove my point, this coil, remember, if we went from the center piece, which is that white wire, right here, the center white wire comes through that hole and contacts this point right here. We're supposed to get that 1 ohm. We're supposed to get 1 ohm from here to the shield, and we're not. Sorry, I'm kind of limited by my camera here and my tripod. So we're supposed to be getting 1 ohm from this center point to the shield, and we're getting all kinds of wacky stuff. There's that open I was talking about. But if we actually come to the circuit board where this coil right here, this blue coil, actually has the black side come over here, lo and behold, we got our 1 ohm. So our issue is not a broken wire. Our issue is this circuit board is so poorly designed and pop riveted on that you don't have actual shield continuity. So there's a couple ways you can fix it. You can scratch up this board right here and resolder these rivets right here. That would be really hard because these would be massive. So I would probably either take a wire and run it from here over to the other side, exactly the same. You could run a wire here, clean you off a spot, and put it on there. I don't really recommend that. Or you could drill these rivets out right here and actually clean this up right here down to the bare metal on the circuit board, this little black area right here. Solder that together, clean these up, solder them together. Or you could solder them together, repop rivet them, or solder a wire here and go to ground. I mean, there's a lot of ways to clean this up. I might just try to go ahead and clean it up on here and solder it with a high wattage soldering iron. And I'll do the same for this middle part right here on both of them, and then this one right here. And when we put it back together, I bet you I get my 1 ohm. And when we reassemble this, we're probably, unless the amp head itself is bad, I bet we have reverb. So anyways, let's go ahead and try that and see what comes up. Alright, this is what I'm doing, is I'm actually taking my X-Acto blade and I'm scratching off the conformal coating that protects this, and I'm scratching this too right here, and I'm also going to do it over here. And what I'm doing this for is so that when I solder this together, it'll actually make real contact, not just a poor contact. And make sure to scratch this up real good here too, so we got good continuity. There we go. So make sure it's nice and shiny. And we'll use some, actually we'll be using some leaded solder instead of this cheap lead-free solder. I just hate that stuff. It's probably the worst solder you could ever use on anything. It's just really, it's probably one of the highest single point failures for electronics is when the solder joints break, they cause the circuits to overheat and burn up internally. Okay, so I've got this done here. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna solder this up with a big 40-watt soldering iron, and hopefully that'll solve it. So let me get that set up and ready to go. So we got some liquid flux here. This is called liquid RMA flux. You could use solder paste if you want. You don't need a lot, just enough to get some on there. That's all you need. And what the flux does is it helps the oxidation come off the board when you actually put it on there. Now this is a big soldering iron. It's like 40 watts. And I'm heating up that brass ring right there so I get a good solder bridge over it. I've got it a little too hot maybe. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to come over here and do this one. Make sure we get a good solder joint there. I'd prefer to actually go all the way around this thing. There we go.
Be careful not to.
Alright. Now we're going to take our meter and I'm going to check for continuity. So let's do that real quick. I won't show the meter. I'm just going to do that off screen. I think you guys have seen how I've used the meter. And I'm going to let you know. I'm going to short the leads together. Make sure that I got good continuity between the leads. I do. So now I'm going to go from here to here. Make sure I got continuity. I got a 0.4 ohms. That's good. Now I'm going to go to the frame. See what I got. And I'm at 3 ohms. I should be a lot less. So apparently I still am having continuity issues from here to the frame itself. So I'll have to come up with an idea. I might end up just running a wire from this side over to the other side, or just from here down to the frame right here, and see if I can't get that there. I may just drill one of these out and put a nut and a screw straight through it, so that I know I have good continuity to the board, to the frame. And then I'll do the same on the other side, because if this side will do it, then the other side will do it. So let's go ahead and get to that. Alright guys, what I went ahead and did is I scratched this up right here. I scratched this one up, and I scratched the other rivet up, and I put some flux on it, and I went ahead and I made sure that this was soldered to this run, this one to this run, and this one to this run, and all these connect all the way through. So that's what that did. And as always, when you deal with soldering components, specifically with flux, flux can hide moisture, can hide solder balls. It's also an acid, so that's heat activated. And the other thing I didn't talk about was this wire right here. This wire right here, I just tacked it on there, and I ran it to the exact same spot on the other side. So now when I go from here to the shield, when this shield is hooked to the other side, it looks exactly like this, except it's a red wire and a black wire and a red coil. When I run this to the shield on the other side, or here, I get my 1 ohm now. So it's not an open circuit or an intermittent circuit anymore. So now, provided the amp head is good, it should work. And eventually I'm going to make sure that these right here are actually right to the frame, and I'll take this wire off of here. And I just, like I said, I just barely tacked it on there just to get it so we could stick it in the amp and test it. That's what we want to do. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to move over to the other side now and clean the flux off of that side. Get me some tissue paper and soak up all the leftover flux. If you have flux that's a little stubborn, like this little piece right here, you can just get your little blade on there and just kind of scratch it a little bit, and it might come up. There you go. Anyways, that's more than most people do. So I've seen repair videos and some very talented techs, but they just never clean their flux off. And why, I don't know. That's just asking for circuit problems. You know, when you're taking your amp up in an airplane and bringing it back down or wherever, that condensation builds up in that flux, and it causes continuity problems, resistance problems, current problem, all kinds of crap. So it's always good to clean your flux off. Okay, see that wire comes all the way across to the other side right here, and I repeated the same process on this side. Let me try to angle it up a little bit better here. I repeated the same process, and then I scratched this one over here and made sure that it had a good ground to this board run. This right here, same thing, the center as well, and then this one over here. And now I've got approximately 1 ohm. These rivets still are not contacting the main frame very well. That's why I just put this wire here temporarily until I can get that issue resolved. Once that issue is resolved, like I said, I think this is going to work properly. So we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and just temporarily hook it up to the amp head without reassembling the whole unit. And we're going to try it out, see if it works. And so let me get this cleaned up. We'll get it put together, and then we'll give it a whirl and see if we have reverb. That's, like I said, that's assuming the head's good. I'm pretty sure this thing is good now. The only thing that I'm not quite sure of is that 51.2 ohms, 54 ohms for this coil right here. The Mesa Boogie site says that they either have 28 ohms or 200 ohms. This is a lot shorter than 200 ohms, but I don't see any burns on the coil or anything, so I think it's just the Fillmore 25 might have just that ohmage. All right, got it cleaned up. Let's put it back together and see what we get. All right. What channel are you on?
Channel 2.
Channel 2. Is that reverb? All right. There's
Let's go to the other channel.
All right. All right, here we go. Hold on. All right, this is all the way down. That's all the way up. Hey guys, we got reverb. So just running this wire right here, connecting the shield from this, which is right here, all the way over to the shield on this one, which is the ground for that, for the center, for that coil there. So wow, that's a, there you go. I like it.
So if we turn this all the way off, which I think is this way,
Yep.
that should do nothing, and it does
It's not.
Keep playing with it.
Wow.
So it looks like all this does is just determine the output from these pickups.
Yeah, well, it increases the amplification of it. It's interesting how these actually work. This is an iron core with what looks like some kind of carbon rod running between them, and they're held over on this end, and the springs suspend those iron cores through this other iron core, and what happens is as the current goes through there, these slightly vibrate, and it picks it up, and it goes straight in here. That is, whoever came up with that idea is just like, wow, you know.
I think Mr. Fender himself came up with it back in the day.
Could have been, I don't know. But anyways, what it turned out to be is just a bad ground. So if you want a cheap fix, just scratch those things up like I showed you. Right there, scratch them up and solder them. Those 3 points, that one. Run a wire from there to this exact same spot on the other side. Scratch this up, solder, scratch that one up, solder it.
And don't do that.
And don't drop your spring. So anyways, you'll have to tuck it back under the little holder down here. I don't really have enough good light, but I had to pull that out to get these wires out of the way, to get the soldering iron in, because these wires are very cheap wires. They're not Teflon wires. They're just like almost like styrofoam wires. You can see. Let's see if I can't prop this up a little bit better for you guys. There we go. That's propped up better. You can see right here where the soldering iron got on it, how it just melted it. And these were Teflon, so I need to get the rest of the flux off of this board and then do a better job. You know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave this wire in here. It works. So, because this right here would act as a wire all the way to this side over here through the rivets. So being the rivets are unreliable, maybe I'll just leave a wire there and I'll keep that soldered up. So that's your fix right there, guys. Just solder those. Well, actually, you don't even need to solder that now. Just solder it from here to here. And if you have a good head other than a ground issue for your shield, that's probably it. You will have to probably solder that one right there to make sure that it makes good contact from this board. Make sure it makes good contact from your shield through this run over to this pad here. So you need to make sure there's a good solder joint here. So, and the other side doesn't really matter because it only uses the center conductor, because the other side of the blue coil goes straight to ground or return. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get this back together here, and we get it all back together. We'll play a little ditty for you. So we were going to reassemble it and go ahead and put this plate on here, and we got to looking at the way that the person had mounted this. They had taken this screw right here, and they had used that screw through these holes right here, and there was no rubber, no mounting, no isolation for this or anything other than this sticky tape here, and I don't think this is original either. So I got to thinking about it, and I looked at some videos of how other reverbs have been mounted, and they're usually mounted like this. They'll have your plate, they'll have your a piece of rubber, they'll have an isolator, and then they'll have a rubber there to isolate it from the frame over here. So I got to thinking about, you know, what's going on here, because these were the ones that we pulled off were all stacked 3 on top of each other, and they were super glued, and even some of the ridges here on the top were super glued down. They had to separate them out. So the best I could figure out is, since this I think this is the output over here, doesn't measure 200 ohms, it measures 50 ohms, and the holes, somebody had drilled holes in this that didn't match the grommet size holes for the corners, so that it would fit in the frame in the proper holes. Nearest we can figure is somebody has replaced this reverb box with another box. If the reverb works, as you heard, but we don't think this is the original reverb box now, and this was bought brand new off the Reverb website. It's oddly, you know, we're dealing with a Reverb website and a bad Reverb module. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill these holes out to this size so that the rubber grommets fit, and we'll put the plate on top, and the rubber grommets will isolate the screws from the plate, from this, and the plate from this right here. You'll see what I'm talking about once we get it done. So in order to do that job, we're going to go ahead, we're going to find the hole of these screws right here using one of these step drills, and you just put it in until it doesn't have any slot. Well, that's got quite a bit of slot, but it won't go to the next one, so we'll use another one. I don't think that one's going to be it, so it's probably going to be this one. And I think that one will be it right there. So we'll figure out what that is, and I'll let you know. Alright, we decided to use 11/30 seconds. It's not exact, but it's just under 3/8, and it'll probably work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to tape off all these holes and everything. And that way all the metal bits stay out of the unit. We don't want them in the unit. And then we'll take a couple pieces of paper, and we'll put them up over here to keep the metal bits out of there. We don't want them in there around anything. So we've got it taped up pretty good, and we're gonna go ahead and drill that hole. Now what I've done on the step drill is I've marked it as far as I want to go, so that way I don't over drill the hole. Let's go a little bit away. Here we go. There we go. Alright, first one's done. Alright, and then we're going to use a deburr to deburr the holes when we get done. So let's get this other one done over here. Oh, be careful. And that one should be done. And we'll use the little deburr tool. I'm going to use it on the drill, it's easier. There we go. Let's deburr the other side. There we go. Alright, now we'll go ahead and clean up, and then we'll go ahead and reassemble this thing. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab these little grommets, and we're going to feed them in the holes right here. There you go. You just let me I don't know if I can show you how to do it, but let me zoom in. What I do is I just put the nipple in first, like that, and then I kind of just use my thumb to push it up while I'm using my finger to push up, and it comes in. All right, so we got to do these other two holes here. All right. Well, let me get these in. All right, we got all the grommets on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this plate that they had, and we're going to take all this double-sided tape off of here because we don't want that in the way. All right, so now that we've got all that double-sided tape off, and by the way, from what I've understand in my reading, some of these do come with double-sided tape on them, but with the way they had the grommets set up on this, and the holes and stuff, and that this was already pre-drilled and had burrs all over it, I didn't think so. I think somebody had messed around with it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick this on here now, line up the holes with the plate. Going to drop these screws in, all four of them. There we go. All right, so what we've done is we've went ahead and we've lined up these holes here with this, like that. And then we're going to pick this one up, and we're going to bring it in here, and we're going to set it down on top of those. I think you can look through the front, can't you?
Yeah, you can. A little bit.
Okay, so there we go.
I don't know if it's going in or not.
Alright, we'll figure it out.
We'll do this side after we get the other side in.
Alright, you might be able to find the holes. Here we go. It's in the grommet, and it's actually in the hole.
I'm not sure about the one on the right though. So I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, it's in the hole, and the grommet's in it. All right, we got to go get the screwdriver, so we'll go fetch that. We forgot to get the tools. Isn't that great? Hold on. All right, we're going to go ahead and set these ones down here too, I guess, since we're on this side already.
Yeah, that would be easier.
There we go. Your hand's right in the way. Thank you. There we go. Got that one down. Let's pull this screw out here. There you go. Then we'll get this side over here. See if you can't pull that screw up right there. There you go. All right, put it back down. Okay, there we go. I gotta just move it over to the hole. There
Eventually it'll go in.
And then we'll squish down on this. And hopefully it'll screw down. Yep, it's screwing down. Good. This one in. Got a couple threads on it there. I guess it helps to push down on it too. Go. Let's get this one in. Alright, let go. Nice and sturdy. little vibration in there. We may end up actually putting some rubber or something in there. But, all right, we've went and located some foam pieces. It's just a little bit of foam you get with like a micro circuit. So we're gonna lift this side up again. And we're gonna take that little piece of foam and just stuff it under the frame right here between the box and the lid. And I need some more screws. Screw loose. Yeah, I got one today, that's for sure. There we go. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's going to solve that problem right now. All right, let's get these screws back down. There we go. All right, solve that side. Let's do this side now. I think this one it's the screw is far enough away we can just lift it up and stuff it in there. There we go. All right, no more rattle. All right, let's go ahead and get the head put in. So for the head, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hook this side up first because it's down under here where it's really hard to see. So we need to do this side first. So here's the head.
And flip it this way.
Right. Put that one in there, this one in here. Then we're going to go ahead, we're going to take this and set it over there. And then go ahead and slide this up inside. There we go. And we'll grab the screws. Raise the phone up a little bit so you can actually see that portion.
Yeah, this side is in.
This is loads of fun. We're gonna get it lined up first. Hold on. Okay, we got them going in now. Anyways, we're gonna get this screwed down and show you the next step. All right, here we go. They're all screwed in and they're just snugged up. They're not like super duper tight. They don't need to be. All right. Next thing we got to do is we got to put these in. So this one goes here, right there, like that, and then the other one goes over there. Okay. It's all back together. All we got to do now is fire it up and test it. Make sure it continues to work. So let's go set this up and then we'll show you. Here we go. Yep. All right. Place a good little lick there. Alright guys, I think that'll wrap it up for this video here. Thanks for watching. I'm not an amplifier technician or anything. I do electronics for a living, fix aircraft test sets, so this wasn't too hard to troubleshoot. So if you have any amplifier questions, I would actually probably either go to somebody who fixes amps or things like that. But if you have any questions about the Reverb Box itself, well, I kind of explained everything in there, but if you have some, go ahead and ask and I'll see if I can't find the answer for you. So anyways, thanks for watching. God bless you all, and this is Keith Noneya out. Bye.